services require meetings. Where meetings are cheap is where the service network hubs will be. And that's somewhat lost in this whole internet magic stuff. We've seen unbundling of offices. So a bank, which used to be a great big building, which had the accounting department, finance department, marketing department, loan department, etc., those have been unbundled and outsourced, sometimes offshored, either to India or rural places or across Europe, whatever. So that last unbundling is the one that has the biggest effect on European cities. The reason is that the concept of, it's worth saying that cities are primarily service producers. That's what most people in cities do. They produce services. And a lot of that is sort of mom and pop retail stores, bus drivers, things like that. But there are large financial service providers in the financial sector, insurance sector, engineering, media, etc., etc. Those have sort of broken up, and that has had a very important impact on the way cities run. That's basically the subject of my talk here, of how to think through the implications of this second unbundling for cities. Now in cities, this has only been going on for a shorter time, but there are examples like London and New York, where this unbundling of the offices has led to an increased concentration in London and New York. Those are the market shares in the financial markets are concentrating in regionally, spatially. And the basic idea is somewhat the same. Now, a big bank like UBS or whatever will outsource back office things like data entry or checking this or checking that, or even research on industries. And because the cost of those services has fallen, the bank is more competitive, and then there's more high-skilled, concentration-intensive activity going on in London. So although the jobs in London per bank have been broken up and some bits no longer done in London, London has a higher level of employment in the banking sector than ever before. So there's an interesting way of thinking about this. I mean, to think about services. How do you provide a service like what you and I are doing now? There's a large part of services which require messages. Like you and I exchanged emails before this to set it up a little bit. I knew the time, you knew to be here. But there's bits of services that actually do require meetings. So I'd like to put messages on one hand and meetings on the other. What the internet has done, this big unbundling, has made the price of messages very, very low. The price of meetings, however, hasn't really changed that much, because I had to get on a plane, I have to spend the whole day here, you had to do the same. So the cost of this meeting isn't that much affected by the internet, but the cost of the messages went down. The fact that messages are cheaper actually increased the demand for meetings. So in the old days, if we had to do this by letter, we probably just wouldn't have bothered. But now it was so easy to arrange it, and now also you're going to be able to sell it on the internet very easily because messages are so cheap. We had one more meeting. So this is what cities are about. Cities are about meetings, not messages. However, the fact that the messages are getting cheaper may make it more important to be in cities, especially in kind of networked services like technical engineering, interdisciplinary medicine, many, many media aspects which require all sorts of different inputs. So that's my vision of the cities, is that the cities will be more focused on face-to-face interaction. Even though telecommuting and whatever lets us meet less frequently, there's still a need to meet. And the cities where meetings are easy and cheap are the cities that are going to start growing. The Netherlands ought to make it cheaper to meet here. That means excellent air connections, high-speed rail connections, reasonably good roads. Also, there's all sorts of infrastructure for meetings. If this western part of region of the Holland becomes an attractive place to meet, it will attract people to produce services. and that will then the whole city thing will flourish. That's my basic policy message, the original one that I'm talking about.